Happy Friday, everyone. I'm Tony Wolak, and this is the Hockey Writers Grind Line, the Red Wings roundtable for the hockey writers. I knew we were going to mess up this episode. Here we go. I'm just kidding. For the past 5 years, the Grind Line has been a weekly column for the hockey writers. Now we're coming to you live. We're excited to share another opportunity to discuss the latest Red Wings news, rumors, and strategy with the Hockeytown faithful. Before we dive in, let's meet our version of Chris Draper, Kirk Maltby, Darren McCarty, and Joe Koser. First up, we have Devin Little. Devin, how's it going, buddy?
Going good, going great. Happy to see you all.
How about you, Ian? What's going on with you? What's new?
I don't have a whole lot new with me. Just did a bit of Christmas shopping after work today, and I'm just thrilled to be here. It's always a blast getting to be on here with the guy. So I hope it's another good show.
Yeah, absolutely. And last up, we have Pat Brown with his new Arizona Coyotes reverse retro jersey. Pat, what's going on?
And not much. Had to rep it. I think it's one of the best looking reverse retro jerseys out there, and I feel like the Red Wings could have taken a little note there.
Yeah, maybe that's true. But you know what? They have a simple, elegant jersey. I'll call it that. So you know what? It's fine. So before we dive into today's episode, the first thing we wanted to cover is there's actually news in Hockeytown. The Red Wings traded Dmytro Timashov to the New York Islanders for future considerations. This was, I believe, the first trade from any NHL team in the last 2 months. So, this must mean that the new hockey season is coming shortly. Guys, any thoughts on this trade before we dive in?
I mean, It's a trade. It's been 2 months. It's something.
I personally am looking forward to.
Happened.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing future considerations in a Red Wings uniform. It's I hear he's a great prospect.
I hear he's had a great junior career.
Lit up the OHL.
Actually, he might be from Sweden.
I thought he was from Brandon, Manitoba. Played for the Moose Jaw Warriors.
We might have to fact check future considerations.
All right. So, okay, yes, there is hockey coming soon, which is great. From the news that we've been hearing this week, it's looking like a January 13th start date for the NHL for the 2020-21 season. The Red Wings are expected to play 56 games this season. The divisions are going to be realigned, and from what I heard this afternoon from Molly Walker, who was a former the Hockey Writers colleague of mine, reporting that the Carolina Hurricanes, Columbus Blue Jackets, Chicago Blackhawks, Florida Panthers, Minnesota Wild, Nashville Predators, Tampa Bay Lightning, and your Detroit Red Wings will all be in a division this year. And all 56 games will be played between those teams. So no cross-division games going on, especially not the Canadian division. So I wanted to kick off this episode to get your thoughts on the upcoming season. What are your expectations? What do you think about the schedule? What do you think about the teams involved? So Ian, I'll throw it over to you first.
It should be a competitive division. It's not the one that I wrote in my realignment article. I think it was 2 weeks ago. But, it should be a competitive division. I don't think they'll be last, if that's a hot take. I think they'll maybe second from the bottom. But I talked about it yesterday with Dylan Larkin. Dylan Larkin, who a lot of us have high hopes for, who believe he can be a top-line center in this league. And for someone like Dylan Larkin, I see him being a point-per-game player in this division. From a player's perspective, I think he has the potential to do that. I think he'll get the opportunity to do that. That's kind of what I'm looking for in this 56-game schedule among these teams. As from a team perspective, I think not last place, but probably near the bottom again. It's competitive. It's at least competitive.
Yep. Pat, I'll throw it over to you next.
So I could have done without saying Tampa Bay in that alignment. Was hoping to kind of scoot from that, but It is what it is. Much of what Ian said, I think it's going to be very competitive. The Red Wings are not going to be the worst. They may be second. They're not going to be the worst. What I really hope to see is the leadership step up. I read an article a week or two ago, I think it was in the Free Press, about why Dylan Larkin should not be named captain this year, more or less the rationale behind it. Cheating him out of a full season, something to that effect. I actually couldn't disagree more. I think I really want to see Larkin named captain. I really want to see him take on that role that everybody's been expecting him to take on now for really a couple of years, and lead that top line, help drive the lower lines, your second scoring line and your third line, your checking line, and just see improvement out of this team. We saw 17 wins out of 71 games, I think, last year. I think we can potentially see, as I've said a different couple of shows before, I think we could see, I don't know if we're going to see 10 more in an abbreviated season, but I think we can see 20, low 20s. And if they steal a few here and there, I'll spare you all the hot take for now. But you know my feelings on if they can go out there, they could steal a few games here and there in a shortened season.
Yeah, that's from Pat, Mr. 2021 playoffs for the Red Wings Brown. So
heard it here first. You heard it here first.
Next up, Devin, I want to hear your take on it.
Well, first, I just want to say I think that whether it's the Free Press or whoever wrote that article, I think someone's trying to hot take us, trying to say that Larkin doesn't get the C. We'll see what happens with that. But I also want to say give Pat an apology. Obviously, we've kind of clowned you for your 2021 playoff prediction, but with this proposed alignment, I can start to see it. If they're in a division with the Wild, the Predators, who I think are they have one foot stuck in purgatory, the Blackhawks, who are supposedly embracing the tank, and then if they steal a couple games here and there, I mean, like you said before, they could ride a hot streak and all of a sudden sneak in. I'm not going to say that's the best thing for them. I think we'd all agree on that, but it could happen. But as for my personal expectations, I just kind of more or less what Ian and Pat both said. Maybe not last, but next from last. I'd like to see them still get a top 5 pick. I wouldn't like another 6th overall pick. But I don't know. I just, in general, you want to see progress, whether it's from the Larkins, from the Manthas, or even from the the Giovanni Smiths, right? You just want to see progress in whatever form that will take.
So, I was looking at the opponents that the Red Wings will be playing this season, and Devin, you bring up a good point. Chicago and Nashville do represent two teams that the Red Wings could be, competing with on, like an every night basis. That I don't see much of an advantage one way or another. I mean, I'm sure, yes, Nashville has a stronger defensive core than the Red Wings. That's, of course. But as far as, head to head, anyone could win each night sort of deal. I could see the Red Wings, coming out ahead and winning, more games against Chicago than the Blackhawks do against the Red Wings, and same with Nashville. My prediction for the season, though, I kind of put together what I expected for records against the different teams, and it came out to 19 wins, 30 losses, and 7 overtime losses, giving the Red Wings 45 points in 56 games, which is an improvement over last season. As Pat mentioned, they had 17 wins last season in 71 games. 19 wins and 56 games this season would be a slight improvement. And if we're going back to the previous article we all contributed to for Detroit's next playoff team, that's, with the marginal increase in wins and less straight up losses, we may be starting off on Ian's formula of an 8-point improvement season after season, which will eventually get us to a playoff team in a few years. One person I didn't hear any of you guys mention is Jeff Blashill, who has had, at this point, over 9 months to study the game, prepare for the upcoming season, figure out lines, figure out pairings, figure out how he wants to approach certain scenarios. I know we've talked about in the past that it's sort of a make or break season for him, but I also do have high expectations for him coming in and motivating these players who are hungry to get back on the ice and playing games. I know he can be at times like a good motivator. I don't know about like an in-game tactician, but I do think that there is a big opportunity here for him to assert himself as Detroit's coach and someone that they should hold on to in the future. I don't know if you guys had any strong opinions on that one way or another.
My thing with Blash, I mean, one thing I'm intrigued by, and it's not the end all be all, but I like to see what the discipline of this team is like next season, because they're going to be off for about 10 months, I think it is, by the time we, assuming we start in January, they'll be off for 10 months. They're probably going to be really anxious. They're probably going to be really eager to get back out there and to start playing competitive hockey games again. I'm interested to see what the discipline of the team's like, if they're taking, a lot of penalties, stupid penalties. Last year, I think they were about middle of the pack in terms of penalty minutes per game. Like, they weren't at the top, but they weren't at the bottom either. Personally, I'd love to see, less penalties. I'd like to see a disciplined effort. It's not the end all be all, but it is something that I'm going to be looking forward to and seeing how that dynamic turns heading into the 2020-2021 season.
Great.
Yeah, I think, first of all, I want to set the record straight so I wasn't misleading. I looked up the article. Helene St. James of the Free Press wrote it, but it wasn't that Larkin shouldn't be named captain. It was that Yzerman should delay naming a captain, and they should not have a captain again this year. Just to make sure, I don't want to throw anybody under the bus there. But to the topic at hand with Blaschel, I do think it's that time, guys. I think it's hot take time. I think maybe Blaschel, and I'm a fan, but maybe he's just not as good as we think he is. We want him to be. We've seen he has had success at every level, but at every level that he's had success at, that has come in the very beginning of where he's been at. Even when you go back to his time in the USHL with Indiana, won the Clark Cup, but then went on to lose. Western Michigan, he did well at Western Michigan, developed talent, obviously as a college coach. But then you look at Grand Rapids, won the Calder Cup, and though they had some successful seasons after, lost in the semis and again in the conference finals to the Red Wings. Now the jury's out, right? He had a playoff caliber team barely his first year. They made the playoffs, got knocked aside by Tampa, and that was that. But I think, we need to see true development out of these players. We need to see discipline, Ian, like you said, and we need to see secondary scoring, the ability of them to operate and function as a team in that offense, and not just depend on your top three forwards to do all the scoring.
I couldn't agree more with that. Devin, how about you? Any comments on Blaschel?
So for me, there's two things I'm looking for out of Blash this year. One, it kind of goes along with discipline. The Red Wings looked defeated a lot last season. They'd get an early goal, and then their opponent would get it even again, and then they'd score a quick one, and then it was just downhill from there. They got down and they never got back up. I'd like to see that happen a lot less frequent with this season. It's one thing to lose, it's another to get your teeth kicked in, and they got their teeth kicked in a lot last season. And then the other thing is just what I'm going to say is optimization. People like to give him crap for his line blender, and I'm one who'll do that too. But damn near every coach in the league will pull out the blender every now and then. It's kind of just how you get a spark going. But what I'm talking about when I say optimization is if we'll just say, for example, Philip Zadina. Let's say he's really cooking, but he's stuck on the third line. I want to see him climb up the lineup. If let's say Tyler Bertuzzi is on a cold streak, I don't want to see him stapled to the first line. I want to see him, move up and down as necessary. You just want to see players in the right spots. Everyone lost their minds back in the day when Justin Abdicator was like a fixture on the top line when everyone could see he should not have been. You just don't want to see a lot of that anymore. Yeah, it's just getting the most out of his players and also just making sure they don't get so darn down on themselves. But yeah, those are just my thoughts.
I want to say about Blaschel, this team has little to no pressure this upcoming season. Like, I don't think any of us are expecting him to be a playoff team. Blaschel might be the person in the room with the most pressure on him personally. Like, I think of any player or coach or front office individual, I would say Blaschel is the one with the most pressure on him to perform.
For sure.
Go ahead, Devin.
No, I just agree. I also, prior years, there was Justin Abdicator, there was Jonathan Erickson, there's Jimmy Howard. Pick your scapegoat, they were there. They're all gone now. It's Blash. He's probably the least popular person that has anything to do with this team right now. So if anything goes wrong, they're coming for his head. So, yeah. Yeah,
there's no fall guy. You're exactly right. There's no fall guy. Of course, unless we see. Maybe that'll explain Franz Nielsen on the top line.
Yep. So speaking of lineups and, optimization and all that good stuff, I would like to take us in a different direction and talk about an article that our fearless leader here, Tony Wolak, put out the other day. He put on his GM hat and orchestrated a trade with Eugene Helfrich over at the Tampa Bay team. And they pulled off a whopper of a deal that landed Tyler Johnson, who we all know I'm a big fan of, and Alex Killorn in a big old salary cap dump. I forget what else was going on there. I know there was a first round pick. I'm pretty sure it was in this year, right, Tony? What was your haul? Tell the fans.
Sure. So essentially, the Red Wings would take on the contracts of Tyler Johnson and Alex Killorn in exchange for a first round pick, there are many iterations of the trade in the negotiations, but I think it ended up being a first round pick and Hugo Alflinet, Tampa Bay's goaltending prospect, goalie of the future. In exchange, the Red Wings would send over a fourth round pick to Tampa Bay just so they have something to show for it besides, future considerations. So when I was approaching this deal, the Red Wings, obviously they want to collect draft picks. At first I wanted to go with a 2022 first round pick just because I think we all know Tampa Bay is going to be a solid team next year, but the year after, who knows, they might take a nosedive like the San Jose Sharks did. Ended up being a 2021 first rounder, I believe. And then for the goaltending prospect, the Red Wings really don't have a goalie of the future. And, by picking up Tampa Bay's top goaltending prospect, someone I've been high on for a while, they get someone who is, I think his best trait is his skating in the crease, like his crease management, his adjustments. It's so technically sound. He's not, when you look at goalies like Pekka Rinne and Andrei Vasilevsky who flop around the crease, they have, that's their own style, and they use that sort of what's the word for it, that explosiveness to move laterally and get in front of pucks, and it looks like they're doing a lot. But for I believe it's pronounced Alnefelt. Yeah. So what I like about his game is it looks so effortless, him moving around the crease, and whether it's a cross ice pass that he's tracking, or whether the puck's bouncing around in front of him, he is so precise with his movements and is so efficient with his movements that it looks like he's barely doing anything, but he's always square to the puck. And I think that's something that's going to translate well, as he moves up levels. But watch out for him at this year's World Juniors, provided Sweden can ice a healthy team with all their COVID-19 cases so far. But so negotiated that deal with Tampa. The Red Wings take on those contracts. They can always flip Tyler Johnson and Alex Killorn later on if they don't like in Detroit and retain some salary. So I don't know if you guys had a chance to dive into it or had any thoughts, but definitely want to hear your take.
So I do. I have a question. I want to gather your thoughts on it. So if you're taking on Killorn and Johnson, they're both going to play. They both fit in that lineup, fit in the Red Wings lineup for sure. Who do you think they take out of the lineup if they were to execute that trade?
That's an interesting question because you're not just adding one player, you're adding two, which is completely different. So I guess it depends on who's in the lineup to start. So if those two players do, this trade somehow magically happens, I think Franz Nielsen would be the one who'd be taken out of the 23-man roster, waived and sent down to Grant. I don't know what they're going to do with like a taxi squad that travels with the team, but taken off the 23-man roster. Red Wings would get about $1 million in salary cap savings by doing that, but otherwise would retain the rest of his salary on the books. Otherwise, it's going to be a battle for the last few spots. Maybe Sam Gagner doesn't play as much as he expected. Maybe if Evgeny Svechnikov is starting off on the fourth line. Maybe Darren Helm doesn't play as much as he'd like. It just makes the team that more competitive from an every night basis, like against other teams, but also competition to actually get in the lineup and stay there.
Yeah, Tony, I've got a thought and a question for you as well.
Sure.
So I know I told you this already, but loved the article. One of the favorite things I've read in a while. Really enjoyed it. My thought is, I thought it was cool how you're talking about Johnson and Killorn, but you started gushing about a goalie prospect during that when you were just talking just now, and I thought that was very telling of what we're really looking for in the future, and how we lack that goalie depth in the organization right now. So I just thought that was kind of cool. But in terms of this trade, hypothetically it goes down, I gotta ask, does that make the Red Wings a playoff team in 2021?
I gotta get him to say it.
I think it makes them a more competitive team. I don't think it pushes them into the playoffs, though. I think they're a little bit closer to 500, but no, not a playoff team. And yeah, sorry for the mispronunciation of the name. It's Hugo Alnefelt. There's a lot of L's in there. I just forgot where exactly they were in his last name. But I'm of all the goalie prospects in the NHL, I think I had him 5th or 6th on my list of most talented, ranked by a number of variables, with Yaroslav Askarov and Ilya Sorokin being 1 and 2. So if he's ranked that high, that should show how talented this kid is.
What I loved about it was just Tampa Bay has had some really good goaltending prospects over the years, like Vasilevsky, obviously. Ben Bishop, long time ago, used to be a member of the Tampa Bay Lightning. So if we can pry a Lightning goalie prospect out of that deal as well, count me in. Wait, nice job, Tony. A+.
Thank you. He was drafted by the Lightning in the 3rd round of I believe the 2019 draft, and that was one of those instances where I'm sitting on the couch, like I have who the Red Wings should take with their next pick, and I'm just like, don't take him. Like let Alnefeld fall to us, and then of course Tampa, one of the team that came off a season where they won 62 games, takes one of the top goalies in the draft, and I'm like, of course.
That
This is
already
why
has
why can't we
Vasilevsky.
have nice things? Yeah. So, go ahead, Ian.
Well, I just before we move on, I want to say, because Steve Yzerman obviously was running those Tampa Bay teams when they were making all those goalie picks and when they were getting all those goalie prospects to come over to the Lightning too. So, again, we don't have that great goaltender yet in the system to really look forward to, or who we build a future around. But it is just food for thought, knowing that we now have the guy who was doing that for so long, and he's now running our team and our franchise.
Yep, absolutely. So, it's funny. This time every year, Twitter blows up with everyone's Spotify rap playlist, and that gave our pal Ian here a great idea to share with everyone.
Yeah, thanks, Tony. No, I wanted to do Spotify raps. I wanted to hear what everybody's Spotify raps were. I want to get to know everybody's music taste, because right now, again, we don't get to see each other. We only just talk really through Twitter, Slack. We're only just communicating digitally towards one another. So I wanted to know what everybody's Spotify raps are. What's their go-to music right now? And not Christmas music, like normal music. So Pat, I'm going to start with you. I know you said earlier you don't have Spotify, but I want to know your five.
True.
I want to know your 5 go-to musicians, artists, bands, you name it, top 5. Go for it, Pat.
Yeah, I guess I'm dating myself a little bit by calling myself a Sirius XM guy, but I guess that's my go-to platform. However, if you were to check what I'm listening to lately across all genres, because I really, really do like music across all genres, Foo Fighters are going to be up there. Foo Fighters are probably going to be number 1, to be honest, and have been for a very, very long time, decade, literally. You got Blake Shelton and Midland in there from the country. Little 5 Finger Death Punch is pretty awesome to work out to. Also Marshmallow. Actually, gotta credit my son Oscar for Marshmallow. He did a promo for Up or something like that, and he got really into that, and I really like that. So you should check out Marshmallow. Have an open mind. It's good stuff. And then last but not least, on the alt side of things, Little Hurt. Really enjoyed Little Hurt this past year. I like that band, like their sound, and their music's really, really good.
I love
that'd be my Spotify rap.
I was going to say, I love the variety on that. No, you absolutely killed it, Pat. Nice job. Devin, I'm going to ask you next. What's your Spotify rap looking like this year?
So, like Pat, I like to dabble in pretty much every genre, given the vibe. So what I tend to do is when I have concert tickets, I tend to spam said artist until I see them, and then I don't listen to them again for like 6 months because I just saw them. And I was supposed to, before everything went to crap, I was supposed to see Foo Fighters, Speak of the Devil, and
Nice.
yes, and Halsey. So Halsey was high on my thing, and Foo Fighters is always high on my list just because I don't have to see them in concert much right now. My other artists that made the list this year at least were The Weeknd. Big fan of bass. Can't get away from it. G-Eazy, Motionless in White, and then Post Malone. And I would also like to throw out Nirvana. Spotify's not going to get that. Nirvana is one of my go-tos in my car. I actually was going to wear a Nirvana shirt, but apparently I need to do laundry. Yeah, so got a little bit of pop, a little bit of rap, a little bit of heavy rock, a little bit of grunge. Yeah, that's what I'm into.
Nice. All right. I like it, Devin. Tony, do you got anything for us for a Spotify rap this year?
I do, and I can't help, or I can't resist saying, what if I say I'm not like the others? I don't have Foo Fighters on my list. So,
that was well played, though. Well played.
Thank you. Yeah, I think we're a pretty well-rounded group here, especially with music. I do want to preface though that on my Spotify Wrapped playlist, um, well, my wife and I share the same account, so I have no idea who the fifth person is on the list, but I'll just throw in like, who I would put in fifth. So number one, Eminem, top 1% listener in the world. So, Detroit.
You've only got one shot.
Yeah. Next up is, for number two, the Beatles. Number three, Frank Sinatra. Number four, perfect to follow Frank Sinatra, is Lil Wayne, which I know you guys fully expected. And then number five is Trevor Daniel. I don't know who he is, but I would say who would be next on the list is probably T.I. I like a lot of his old stuff. I have a playlist I created. It's like 2006 to 2008 rap, which was me at the end of high school and listening to that every day. So nice little throwback for me there.
All right, I like that. God, we got a lot of diverse music groups, and I love it. So my Spotify Wrapped, it's accurate, but usually it's a bit more diverse because I have a road trip mix that I listen to. But because I wasn't able to travel as much this year driving, I didn't get to listen to the road trip mix as much. But according to Spotify, my top five, I have Travis Scott, I have Canadian Drake, I have Eminem, number three. Not a top listener like Tony is, but I have Eminem. Four, I have Jack Boys, which is like Travis Scott, Shaq West, a bunch of rappers. And number five, another Detroit native, Big Sean, I have as my number five. But I mean, I can listen to like Stones, Beatles, The Doors. I love The Doors. It's really what I don't like. And I really don't like Green Day. I hate Green Day. Anybody who knows me well knows I hate Green Day. Don't like Nickelback.
Shocker.
No. I mean, come on. Wait, but they're Canadian.
Yeah, they are Canadian, and they're not Canadian. They're Albertan. It's different. And Rush, not a big fan of. Also Canadian. But I would say it's more what I don't like is like the Green Day, Nickelback, and Rush. But otherwise, I can listen to all of what you guys said. So I think we here knocked out of the park.
I'm with you. I'm totally with you on Green Day and Nickelback. In fact, I would put in my bad or bottom three, I would throw Creed in there as my third, to be honest. But you guys might not even remember them. And one other thing I got to get out there, because I'll probably never have an opportunity to talk music on this show ever again. One of my all-time favorite songs, and Ian, you're not even old enough to remember this, or you weren't even born yet, but when the Red Wings won the Stanley Cup in '97, ESPN ran a video montage after Game 4 when they swept the Flyers to Queen's Don't Stop Me Now. And it's on YouTube. Look it up. Don't Stop Me Now. That's an iconic song, been featured in Shaun of the Dead, one of the greatest scenes ever when they were fighting in the bar. We actually had it at our wedding as well, my wife and I, but one of my favorite songs of all time. And I was introduced to it because the Red Wings swept the Flyers in 1997.
Well, I know what I'm going to be watching after we're done here.
Do it.
I just want to quickly throw out that not liking Nickelback might be the coldest takes you two have ever.
I know. I was just thinking, like, you guys had the coldest takes. Ooh, I don't like this band. Creed, Nickelback. Come on.
It is a bit pathetic, but I mean, like,
you guys are known for your hot takes, and this is what you come up with.
I listen to so much, like, it's not like I'll listen to whatever. Like, I can listen to a whole bunch of different stuff. It's more the stuff that I really, really don't like, and it's really tough when I hang out with my Albertan friends who are like, Nickelback's actually pretty good. It's like, it's actually not. You guys are not right.
All right.
Remember that time they played halftime at a Lions Thanksgiving game? Because that was awful. That was, for once, worse than
He's just talking about the football.
If we're gonna do bottom three, I'll agree with the Green Day take. I don't care for their music. More of a genre, 80s hair metal don't care for it at all. And then Ian starts, this is a surprise to you, but I can't stand Drake's music. I think he's a phony, but
No, you know what? When I was like, in middle school and high school, I wasn't the biggest Drake guy. I'm like, yeah, I don't get it. I don't see it. And then like I started listening to it more and more. My friends got me into it. It's like, okay, I like this music. I get it. I get where he is a bit of a phony, though. I will say, like, there is a bit of a phoniness to. I get where you're coming from there.
And I'm not saying
there's no room for Tony to like Drake because he only likes his bed and his mama. He's sorry.
I mean, and being a good rapper doesn't depend on your upbringing by any means or anything like that. But I don't know. It never appealed to me. It was more singing than rap, and that's, I don't know, that just, to me, it hit different. So I was like, I prefer, Big Sean, Eminem, T.I., that sort of rap.
I still love listening to like Tupac and Snoop Dogg and Dr. Dre, like all those guys too. Like those guys, I any given day it's different, but I love listening to like the 90s 2000 type rap too.
The OGs.
Definitely. All right, guys. So we're gonna wrap it up here, and before we close out, Pat, you have a new feature coming up. Do you want to tell us about the 12 days of Hockey Mist that you're planning?
Absolutely. Really looking forward to it. It starts on Sunday. We're going to count down from 12 to 1. You may have noticed I've been quite quiet on the site lately. I've been building up my arsenal to rapid fire day after day. Devin's got a few things to chime in with as well. He took a few of the days. Thank you, Devin, for giving me a little bit of a break here and there, and really looking forward to it. Going to count down 12 to 1 from Sunday to Christmas Eve.
Love it. And Devin, you have the Grindline article coming out on Monday. Do you want to tell us a little bit about what to expect?
Yeah, this week we're going to be kind of setting our expectations for the Red Wings top line. So that's, Tyler Bertuzzi, Dylan Larkin, and Anthony Mantha. We're all going to theoretically answer this in our own ways, but we're going to, like I said, set our expectations for the upcoming season, which of course means that next season the top line is going to look completely different. But
yeah, of course. It's going to be, Larkin, Zadina, and Bobby Ryan.
Exactly.
But anyway, guys, great show today. Everyone make sure to like the Hockey Writers Facebook page and to subscribe to our YouTube channel. If that's it, then I'll see you guys next week.